Так, є перевага в класі футболістів індивідуальна, є перевага в досвіді. Ну і, напевно, ще одна перевага, яка є у Манчестер Юнайтед напередодні цього поєдинку на папері. Принаймні, це можливість підсилювати гру з лави запасних. Тут дійсно цікавіші варіанти у Еріка Тен Хага. І в останні тижні наставник Ман Юнайтед себе в першу чергу показує як тренер, який здатен дуже добре змінити гру, підсилити гру за рахунок зміни позицій футболістів в атаці у другому таймі.
Ну так, Юнайтед зараз дійсно одна з найгарячіших команд Європи. Дуже мало програють. Програли Арсеналу 22 січня. Після того поразок у них немає. Є лише нічиї з Барселоною та з Лідсом. До того була серія видатна з 9 перемог поспіль, з 10, вибачте, перемог поспіль після поразки від Астон Вілли. Тому, напевне, і на папері мають бути вони фаворитами. Є впевненість ця, на відміну від футболістів Ньюкасла. Ну, а у Ньюкасла хіба що мотивація? Ти згадав про Дена Бьорна. І дійсно, на тренувальній базі Ньюкасла і у роздягальні футболістів Еді Гау розвісив банер, що востаннє Ньюкасл вигравав кубок 68 років тому. Тому, як ніби в стилі прекрасного серіалу Теда Лассо, про, як він правильно називають, Тед Лассо, так? Що будьте впевнені у собі. Чи спрацює це, чи ні, подивимось, звичайно. Але, напевне, мотивації таким людям, як Ден Бьорн, тут не потрібно десь шукати ще. А для них дійсно можливість просто вийти сьогодні. Це вже щось. Це вже досягнення, яке він запам'ятає на все своє життя.
Каріус вибиває м'яч. Казиміро грає головою, а Бруно Гімараєш перехоплює на Жоелінтона передача. Два футболісти проти Жоелінтона, але зберігає м'яч бразилець, віддає передачу вперед у напрямку, але Сен-Максімена зупиняє його вінгер Ньюкасла. Передача у центр, Альмірон повертає м'яч Сен-Максімену. Непогана атака вимальовується у Ньюкасл. Сен-Максімен увійшов до штрафного майданчика, намагається пробити Бруно Гімараєс, але зустрічає його захисник Манчестер Юнайтед. Рівний початок гри. Жодна команда поки не має переваги. Фред опиняється на газоні, тримається за ногу.
Варто відмітити, наскільки класно розвивалася ця атака. Розпочиналась вона з Жоелінтона. І знову-таки закидання на лівий фланг, на фланг Діого Далло. Саме по ньому сьогодні працюють. Але ми бачимо, змінився по позиції з Рафаелем Вараном. І в якийсь момент трохи заплутали йому ноги. Тому я думаю, що ось на цей фланг будуть підтискати. І будуть активніше підтискати сьогодні футболісти Ньюкасла. Є швидкість у Альмірона, є швидкість у Алена Сен-Максімена. І ми бачили, що Альмірон може і на лівому фланзі зіграти, здублювавшись з французьким вінгером. Тому сьогодні роботи у португальського фулбека Манчестер Юнайтед буде достатньо. Ось пошкодження Фреда – це вже неприємно. Але знову-таки, те, про що ти згадував, у Манчестера дійсно є ким підсилювати гру. Є в резерві Мактоміней, є в резерві люди, які можуть вийти в атаку. І той же Ван-Бісака на правий фланг теоретично може з'явитися. І Маласія на лівий фланг, і Марсель Забіцер, до речі, в резерві, як і Санчо. Тому вистачає футболістів, які можуть вийти. І знову Ньюкасл. І знову щось спроба зробити тим самим лівим флангом. Діого Далло на цей раз відпрацьовує ідеально у захисті португалець, вибиваючи м'яч на аут.
Ми багато поговорили про переваги Манчестер Юнайтед перед стартом цього поєдинку, але ж Ньюкасл – команда, яка цього сезону в чемпіонаті лише двічі програла. Обидва матчі Ліверпулю. І перший матч вони програли вже у компенсований час арбітром. Другий поєдинок, як говорив Кіран Тріп'єр, і цілком справедливо.
Referee David Coote was of another view. I think it was just from behind, wasn't it? Whether or not he contacts a piece of the ball there, Weghorst certainly took a piece of Bruno Guimaraes. I think he just contacted him before he won the ball, and the referee didn't allow him to play it early because it wasn't quite in the correct spot, so brought the play all the way back. Casemiro. Way through for Anthony. Joelinton, Bruno Guimaraes, Saint-Maximin. Well, that is one way to stop him. And baying for a relatively early yellow card for Diogo Dallo. Well, there's a reason why the Newcastle players are surrounding the referee, because they know how important this card is. makes all the difference in this game. You are 1v1 with Alan St-Maximin for the rest of the game. And I have to agree with the referee. I think it is a yellow card. It's so deliberate. St-Maximin's away from him. It's a clumsy tackle. Doesn't need to make that there either. You're in the middle of the park, and now he's on edge the rest of the game.
He is in a very precarious position, the way St-Maximin is going at anybody in a red shirt. The commitment of Fabian Scher appreciated. He has really become a key figure in this Newcastle side. Now everything physically is right. He's had a lot of problems in that regard. There's Scher again. Went out of play. Threatened to send Marcus Rashford searing away down that left flank. It's a cold day at Wembley.
So you've gone early with the hat.
It's always my policy.
Yeah. Don't wait till you get cold.
Don't allow it to happen. There's other headgear in use at Wembley today. There are some braver souls than I in the stands. Longstaff's challenge, the hero of the semi-final. And this is where the annoying bit comes in that Erik ten Hag was talking about from Newcastle. Delaying tactics. Like to stir the pot. That happens in the technical area as well, with Jason Tyndall often lighting a fuse or two, the assistant manager.
Yeah, they like to get set, don't they? And I think they use it. I mean, it's an organised tactic, isn't it? Anyone who's near the ball, stop it going early, and it just allows the back four midfield players just to get set, and I suppose it's reflected in that defensive record.
Martinez's ball forward. Varane got it right.
He had to. He saw that early, Varane. I think if the ball had gone a fraction earlier, he might have been in trouble, but he got out there quickly.
Now Anthony, fed by Bruno Fernandes. Dalot. Towards Fred, and Weghorst is in there. Will it break for him, Weghorst? A very routine save indeed for Karius, which will make him feel better nonetheless.
Oh, it's a real chance though, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit fortunate the way it's popped onto his left foot, a ricochet, but he just hasn't caught hold of that. He's leaning a little bit. He's just a bit of a wild swing with his left foot. If he strikes it cleanly, I think Karius is in a bit of trouble. It's quite close range.
Trippier. Beautifully teased in there to Callum Wilson, of whatever nature, are always top quality. And that's a skill he's had from a very young age. One of his Manchester City Academy coaches said he saw it in him as a 12-year-old.
It was a delicate pass, wasn't it?
And Trippier's involved again. And again it's a threatening ball which Varane defends. Now Burn. Loses out. St-Maximin. Bruno so adept at shielding the ball. Trippier. it on again. Duel that between him and Shaw. Hernandez. Casemiro. That was one space created here for Anthony. And now Dalot. More dangerous ball. And some important defending there. Bruno Guimaraes able to hook it away. Finally.
Well, that could have gone anywhere. It really could. It just bounced out. It was lucky it was to a Newcastle player, but great run from Dalot. And it's a brilliant cross, actually. He just whips it with real pace. Every centre-forward loves that opportunity just to get across, and Weghorst just couldn't get there.
Not a situation a centre-back particularly enjoys, or they shared it well.
He did. Just to get anything on it, but no, that is not what you want as a centre-half. The ball with that kind of pace on it can just go anywhere, which it did actually, but could have popped out to a Manchester United player easily. It's been a good start, hasn't it? Good entertaining start to the game. Kieran Trippier was right in the fact that Newcastle are not just sitting in there, they're having a go and they're getting up the pitch and getting the ball out to St Maximin every opportunity they can.
For all the high energy about Newcastle's start, the most as well. Longstaff. And Anthony sprawling, couldn't quite cut it out. This is St Maximin. Weghorst. Bruno Guimaraes, fed by Joelinton. Almiron. Trippier with him. And he'll use him.
He loves that little pass, Kieran Trippier. The amount of times you see him nutmeg someone in that position just to roll that ball into the path, it was just a little bit too straight this time for Almiron, but got real purpose when they go forward, Newcastle.
Ball's backing in. Just a little warning gesture from referee David Coote, who didn't feel necessary to award anything. But Newcastle lose possession, and Casemiro, well, it wasn't the ball in it everybody expected. He sought out Rashford when Anthony was on.
It did surprise me. He chose that option. Anthony was the much easier ball.
Now Bruno Guimaraes is asking for a yellow up against a pair he knows well, his compatriots Fred and Casemiro. Anthony appears to be in a little bit of difficulty for Manchester United at the moment. After his sparkling contribution in midweek, he will certainly hope his Wembley debut does not end prematurely. A little spot of bother in his groin area.
He's not leaving it alone, is he? He's not really looking like he's shaking that one off at the moment as he just goes to press this ball. He's not moving well.
Bruno Fernandes on the move ahead of the ball here. He will keep Botman honest. To say, it has been notable how deep Weghorst has dropped at times, but he's very much the leader of the line. Managed to keep it in play there. Off the head of Shaw. He's behind you. It's Almiron. Martinez didn't seem to be totally aware of his presence.
Got a bit worried there, didn't you? Thought he was not going to see him. I think he was just trying to bait him in a little bit, wasn't he? Getting closer.
It'll be foolish to underestimate Lisandro Martinez. He's been such a hit.
I think he was massively underestimated, wasn't he? Until he got into his rhythm, and I think everyone went, oh, he's a real player. And he's certainly proved that. He's been absolutely outstanding.
He's reached great heights, even though there were doubts about him for his lack of it. This is Anthony now for Manchester United. Seeing him moving freely now. Put away by Botman. Joelinton. Well, he has had quite the transformation. It was a great relief over that he was able to get over a slight injury concern. But talking of which, a worry about Bruno Guimaraes, who has served a suspension lately. Recently, at a Premier League match against Fulham, he was withdrawn early.
Looked like he was really enjoying that battle in there between Fred and Casemiro.
Joe Willock thrust back into the squad today after injury problems of his own. Here's Varane. By Callum Wilson against Fred.
Newcastle really pressing the ball well in the middle of the park and getting quite high up the pitch. Not making it easy for Manchester United in their own half to be comfortable and get any rhythm or passing game going through the lines. They really are pressing high up and getting a few rewards, aren't they?
What he's seen for the most part will encourage him. Botman. It's fitted in seamlessly, both as a player and a person. What is a very tight Newcastle group. This is Almiron. Trippier. It's threatening. And it was Cher up from the back, arriving, hoping to make the most of it. Unfortunately, that burst has come at some cost.
To do a little double take to see who it was who actually headed the ball. He's in there out of free play, Cher, which is highly unusual. But Martinez really had to stand up brave and get his body in the way and put his head in the way, because that was some force that Cher was attacking that ball with, really clattered him.
A real sense of adventure from the centre-back, but suffering as a result. Former Newcastle manager Steve McLaren on the Manchester United bench. And this is not a scenario where any risk whatsoever can be taken.
I'd be really surprised if it hasn't drawn blood with the force at which they hit each other. I mean, it was a big collision, wasn't it?
Two incredibly committed players. We hope, while others can smile, that there is no serious concern. They will take their time. Well, there are to follow, and there are acts to follow. No one has quite yet successfully lived up to the legacy left by this man. If nobody ever does, that wouldn't be a surprise given his incredible achievements.
I was going to say, is that even possible?
But to get them back on the same road, David Gill alongside him, former chief executive of the club, also a key figure in all their great exploits. He's certainly keeping someone informed about it, at least.
I think it's great to see him and Erik ten Hag as well developing a relationship, and Erik ten Hag really trying to harness some of that knowledge that I'm sure he'll take from Sir Alex.
They dined together recently in the Manchester suburbs. No chance of a quiet dinner, unnoticed these days, but plenty of wisdom passed on, no doubt.
I mean, it's hard to know the protocol for this now. I mean, both the players could be fine. You know, normally you'd have a bump on the head, you might cut your head, you treat it and you carry on. But now it's looked at in closer detail, isn't it? And whether or not you feel fine or not, sometimes makes the call on this, as opposed to the player himself, who will always, 9 times out of 10, keep himself on the pitch.
A touch of petroleum jelly, amongst other things, employed. A little cut, it seems on Fabian Cher. Martinez looked very sprightly as he ran back round towards the halfway line. But naturally, there is always the potential for the reaction to come later when you've had a head knock. Well, the Newcastle ownership, much talked about. This is just the start of many a final, many a great occasion. Also in there, former finalist as a manager in this competition, Howard Wilkinson with Leeds back in 1996. Not a happy occasion when they were beaten by Aston Villa. Great friend of Sir Alex Ferguson's.
He was my England under-18 manager as well, Howard Wilkinson. Very interesting times away with him, learning from him. Especially he loves set pieces. He's a master
Absolutely,
at set pieces.
absolutely. Shouldn't forget he won the league title with Leeds United just 2 years after they were promoted. The final season before the Premier League began. Weghorst under pressure, and that's been Newcastle's mode of business. Apply the squeeze. Dan Burn well forward. There's Fred. Longstaff. Almiron moving at great speed ahead of Trippier. Longstaff feeds Almiron. Now Trippier. A family of Manchester United supporters, Kieran Trippier. He's never quite revealed where his allegiances lay as a young man, although he did join Manchester City in his very early footballing days. So perhaps that's why. What a dangerous ball by Longstaff. It will be retrieved by San Maximan. Brilliant feet! And De Gea denies him. Bruno Guimaraes couldn't control it. But Manchester United alarm bells really clanging for the very first time.
Well, it's so well worked. I mean, this is the pass that we see Trippier make all the time into the space, and it's a brilliant ball that Longstaff flashes across the box. But how about that for a shimmy? Alan St. Maximin, crikey, I think he sent me for a cup of tea there. He really did. I mean, Darlow, absolutely no chance of reacting to that. The way he shifts his weight, absolutely superb. He really can produce something special, can't he, at times? And Bruno Guimaraes coming out and helping out the fullback, which he does brilliantly from that centre midfield role, just a little bit too heavy-handed in the challenge.
Shaw's delivery was really threatening. It's more than that. Casemiro has pounced for Manchester United. And one of the new favourites at Old Trafford has snatched a breakthrough goal in the Carabao Cup final. And just when Newcastle's pressure was at its most feverish, Manchester United spring and...
The delivery this for me is so flat from Luke Shaw with the... Yeah, he kicks right through his ankle there, Martinez. Tries to step in front, it's a straighter pass and he's on the side of Callum Wilson. Such a nimble centre-back. That's reading the...
Something a little different. Oh, and followed up by Alberon. Well, the last 6...
area just gets the contact. Really was a good header.
For all the positives those behind that goal have witnessed, it is pain they are currently feeling. Weghorst. Through for Rashford. He has a chance. And when he has a chance, it always seems to work out for him. Marcus Rashford, the in-form player of the moment, gives Manchester United clear daylight. A despairing moment for Sven Botman. And it is a long, maybe impossible road back for Newcastle United.
Well, Weghorst does brilliantly here. Really strong, uses his body well. It's a bit of a scrappy piece of play. It's been a relatively tight game, but when Manchester United have got in these situations, for me, it's all about the quality they have. It's a wicked deflection, it really is. Karius in goal, it just flipped straight up in the air, and his reaction, I mean, the only criticism you could say that he's going down a little bit too early, but he's so conscious of the ball going round his ankles from a strike from Rashford that he just can't react in time to the deflection off of that.
Well, there will be a question asked as to whether it will go down to Botman. But everything is going right for him in front of goal. And suddenly, everything is going right for Manchester United. And how do the team in black and white pick themselves up now? For the free kick.
They just feel more clinical at the moment, Manchester United. You know, like Newcastle have got in good areas, but they're just in areas like St Maximin's a little bit wide. He's not close enough in front of the goal for...
Saint-Maximin. Turned on by Bruno Guimaraes. This is Cher. Botman taking the direct route. Well, the deflection certainly did not do him any favours.
I think it's difficult when you're not razor sharp in game practice. They're the little differences, aren't they? When you're on top of your game and you're playing regularly, you might just save that.
Buzzing around, not finding a way through, but Trippier making up enough ground to retrieve it. Trippier with some space. Rashford there to defend the situation. The calibre and quality of delivery, they have the targets, they have the potential in a situation like this. Happy to play it in now. Well, more than a glimmer of an opportunity for big Dan Burn.
How well has this worked? Lovely little shift of movement from Trippier, and he's got that little kind of flicky cross where he just whips it in the air. The only thing that makes that header difficult is that Dan Burn is just backpedaling away from the goal when he heads it. It's always harder to get the direction and the power. He just doesn't get enough contact on the ball. Lovely move though. Really took me by surprise. I thought they're definitely going to deliver that foot first time into the box, but mixed it up nicely.
They're very creative with their attacking set pieces. They welcome ideas from anywhere. All of the coaches have a say, players. In this era of specialist coaches. Well, Jason Tindall, the assistant head coach, has the responsibility for the defensive set pieces. Well, of famous Newcastle faces, and certainly you'll recognise the one in the middle, Mr. Shearer, the ultimate goal scorer.
He didn't look like he was having a great time at the moment though, did he?
Well, it's cruel to say this, but he didn't really enjoy cup finals very much.
No, he didn't.
Having a burst. Casemiro, the hero, in that opening goal.
And he has looked good at arriving in the box more than what I thought he would, to be honest. I mean, it's been a key part of his game.
And looking for others to follow his level of passion. And it's a quote he's entitled to put up on his wall from Paul Scholes, as close as you'll see to Roy Keane, he said about him the other week.
It's high praise.
Roy Keane is here today, the Manchester United captain, working for the domestic broadcasters. A yelp of anguish from Sean Longstaff.
Bumps and bruises, hasn't there, in this first half? Very competitively fought game so far. A lot of loose balls. These are the kind of ones you can really hurt yourself. I didn't really see the contact too much, whether or not he's just twisted or caught it somehow, but certainly heard the shriek.
The video assistant referee just had a little browse to see if there was anything untoward involved there. Peter Banks is the video assistant referee to David Coote. Perhaps with a few points to make. He's unhappy with the officials, Sean Longstaff. Weghorst came off his arm, it seemed to me. He's won it back. Bruno Fernandes. Fred. Botman in the way on this occasion.
I mean, I like the role that Weghorst is playing as well for Manchester United. It was quite an unexpected signing, possibly, but I'll tell you what, he's really playing the role well. It's a real focal point, and he does well out of possession as well.
I'll really endear him to his teammates as well, the amount of work he puts in.
Absolutely, and I think it's exactly the kind of mentality that Erik Ten Hag was looking for to bring into the group.
Moran's only managed to find Joe Linton. This is Sam Maximan. Bruno Guimaraes now. Share. Sam Maximan. Seeking to find a little bit of inspiration against a very packed defence. But Anthony provides it. Casemiro, and now an opportunity perhaps for Weghorst. Rashford's arriving. He'll go for it! And a helping hand from Karius.
Well, that looked on target to me. It really did. I mean, it surprised me that he had the shot, but got in a good position. It's a decent save from Karius. That's going under.
Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes. Shaw. Weghorst. And again. Casemiro. Botman said it. Fernandes. And the commitment is fierce. The skill level high. And that kind of thing from Anthony will certainly bring about a degree of frustration in those wearing black and white. And that illustrated starkly by the reaction of Joe Linton.
I think he just thought, how many times can I beat Dan Burn here? I'll beat him once, and then I'll try again, and then I'll try another time. And Dan Burn, I think, does so well, low centre of gravity, really competes brilliantly like that. I think that's what's drawn the frustration from Joe Linton and the Newcastle players.
He is cautioned as we close in on the interval. Anthony didn't seem to be too bothered by it being apparently caught there, looking to tease and torment. Joe Linton looking to do something else, let's say.
He'd had enough.
Well, an opportunity for Newcastle to regroup. So much positive about their start. But Manchester United finding the breakthrough. Casemiro, the beneficiary from a delivery of first-class quality from Luke Shaw. And Marcus Rashford bursting clear to make it two shortly afterwards via Sven Botman. It may well go down to him, unfortunately, the Newcastle man. Loris Karius beaten. He's made one save from Weghorst before the break, but it does appear at this moment to be a long, long road back for Newcastle United. Manchester United closing in on ending their wait for silverware. Half-time at Wembley, Manchester United 2, Newcastle United 0.
Gila, cuma menang 2-0. Semoga juara guys, semoga juara guys. Iya, tunggu siaran lagi. Boleh. Boleh.
Live boy, the official managing partner of the EFL, inviting is everyone's responsibility. Please make sure you continue to wash and sanitize your hands when you're on the go.
Commentary will commence once again in 10 seconds. Added striking power for Newcastle at the start of this second half in their hour of need. Alexander Isak on for Sean Longstaff, so he and Wilson will now lead their attack. There is a change for Manchester United as well. Aaron Wan-Bissaka replacing Diogo Dalot, who is on a yellow card and facing the potential torment of Alassane Maximin in this second half. So that's a sensible decision, you would think, to do their utmost to ensure that they finish with 11 men. Bissaka's come all the way on, now he's got to go all the way off again, as Isak has, so the substitution can be formally administered. Well, the picture needs to change for Newcastle, despite a lot of positive elements in their performance in the first 45 minutes, but cutting edge hasn't quite been as prevalent in recent Premier League encounters. Manchester United is certainly there, and Rashford with real determination, and Fred. And the finish that was there in midweek, not present at Wembley.
I mean, just how measured is Marcus Rashford at the moment, bursting through, but just to get his head up here, find that little pass, lovely weight as well, knowing that Fred wants that on his left foot, side-footed, and he just doesn't really make anything of it, Fred. It's a good opportunity.
Well, that tells you what the Manchester United mood is, and the word settle is not in their vocabulary at the moment. one of their biggest wins at Wembley was against Newcastle in the Charity Shield, as was back in 1996 when they won 4-0. Fate they've also doled out to Chelsea and Brighton in FA Cup finals. A fate he will be at the very least keen to avoid.
Just trying to figure out Newcastle at the moment. I think it's just Guimaraes and Joe Linton sitting in front of the back four.
Wan-Bissaka making an early attacking impression. Oh, and Fred arriving. It's dealt with by Botman. Anthony with a chance. Straight forward for Karius.
He's a little bit frustrated there, Anthony. He knows those opportunities in this area, inside on his left foot. This is what he's all about. This is just where he wants it. He doesn't strike it particularly venomously, and Karius is always along the line.
Bar 3 of his senior goals have come with that trusty weapon, the left foot. One header and 2 right footers, if you really want to know.
Good detail. That's what it's all about.
I've watched them all. Isaac. Certainly showing his running power.
Is Isak just playing off the front at the moment?
It seems that way. Wilson trying to make inroads, but Varane has read just about every situation he's been faced with perfectly this afternoon.
Really just pushed him up, Isak, to play in behind Callum Wilson and Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes, to sit in front of the back four and see if that brings any more joy.
Of course, ploughing something of a lone furrow here. Well, compatriots very much on opposite sides. And while Botman was the focus of attention there, we can confirm that that second goal has gone down to him. Wan-Bissaka in determined mood. Wout Weghorst shouts for handball against Botman. No great reaction from officials on pitch and off. The video assistant referee Banks and his team have said there was nothing in it. It was the last thing Botman needed after scoring an own goal, which incidentally is the first in the Cup final for 18 years since Steven Gerrard helped Chelsea claim the trophy in Cardiff in 2005.
Well, let's see. Kieran Trippier can bring kind of quality as what Luke Shaw did in the first half of the delivery from this side.
Possibly a bit of comparing of notes to the next England get together.
Maybe. He certainly has got the quality, hasn't he?
So Trippier will deliver, and deliver it well. Certainly needed defending, and Wan-Bissaka did that. Shaw and Martinez both up for that one. Thread away. Bruno Guimaraes for Newcastle. Here from the Brazilian. Almiron.
And he's had a good start, Wan-Bissaka, since coming on off the bench. I mean, great tackle moments ago, and then a really good, important defensive header there. Exactly why he's on the pitch.
Erik ten Hag will be delighted to see a substitute so keen to prove a point.
Yeah.
Telling me a while back that he's the best dribbler he's ever worked with. I'm sure he hasn't changed his mind. in the end only presenting that to Joe Linton. Wilson. Guimaraes, Almiron, and Trippier, and Martinez, typically brave. Well, Wilson and Trippier feeling it would suggest handball is what they're saying.
Well, I didn't see the hand come in, but no, it was very brave defending from Martinez. He heads the ball initially. Whether it does get a contact on his hand after that initial touch, I'm not sure, but top defending. Knew exactly where Callum Wilson wanted to go and just got his body right in the way and defended it well.
Select band of Manchester United players who won the ultimate prize in football now. Lisandro Martinez, 5 World Cup winners. 3 of them did it here. Bobby Charlton, Nobby Stiles and winger John Kennelly, who was one of the people on the pitch that legendary commentator Kenneth Wolstenholme was talking about at the end of the final when Jeff Hurst rammed it in to make it 4 for England. Wasn't playing. Fernandes. No corner given. He was adamant about it, Bruno Fernandes, and after a moment of pondering, the referee agreed.
I think you just could tell from the flight of the ball, couldn't you? Had that real kind of rapid dip on the ball, which normally indicates there's a slight deflection. Set plays, corners, slow the game down, not allow Newcastle to try and build any kind of tempo.
Shaw, Weghorst. Rashford sticking well to the defensive task.
I think there's a lot of respect between those two England teammates, but when you're on the pitch you can respect each other, but you have to compete in the right way, and I think those two certainly have in this game so far. Marcus Rashford doing a good defensive job there.
Made changes, Eddie Howe, yet to really make an impression. Saman degree of anguish.
This is what Wan-Bissaka does. He roughs people up. That's exactly right.
I mentioned that problem he had in the game against Fulham, which they won late on at St James's Park against the fellow European contender. He left the pitch in real distress that day because of an ankle issue. Some words for the captain. Second club that those three have worked together at, as Trippier was at Burnley with Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall.
hold his ground, not buy the first one or the second one, maybe not even the third one, and just keep his eye on the ball, stay on his feet. You have to against a player like that.
It takes a full head in the cauldron, though, to do that.
It does, yeah.
Share. Trippier does find a Newcastle player in Botman. He returns the compliment. Trippier thought he was blocked off by Martinez. There was absolutely zero reaction. Botman's cushion header for Almiron. Newcastle pushing. There's just so little space for them to find an inroad. Offside flag up there against Almiron, but Manchester United are moving. Of course, is sprawling. But a challenge just a moment prior on Fred is penalised, and Manchester United have a free kick. And there's a card for Botman, whose day is not getting any better.
They're having a go though, Newcastle, they really are. There's the tackle. Isaac late on Fred, just bounces into the floor. And then I think Botman goes in afterwards. You can just see the reaction of the Newcastle players that they're not particularly happy with the decision.
The official record will show dissent. Following up to feed off the scraps from Weghorst. By Wan-Bissaka on this occasion on Saint-Maximin, as Manchester United look to refresh their ranks. And it's the midfield area in which the reinforcements are coming. Marcel Sabitzer and Scott McTominay. As for Varane, who dealt with it, got hands on Dan Burn. Burn is in there again though, and De Gea has come. Owen fired in. Nigel Linton initially, and he will go for it again. All hands to the pump. It's the Argentinian Martinez who thwarts the Brazilian.
Well, there's just a line of red shirts all in a row. We've talked about how well they've filled this area, just smothered the edge of the 18-yard box and inside, and they do it again. I mean, there's bodies everywhere, getting blocks in, stopping Newcastle players from really getting any clear run at goal.
Took it towards the back post, trying to get over all the bodies, but amid that morass, something displeased David Coote. Well, it's the end of the early evening for Fred and Weghorst. Well, an element of freshness. The workload has been high. And a word or two for the skipper. Rashford moving centrally, and Fernandes at the moment moving left.
Yeah. Make that really solid in there. McTominay and Sabitzer just sitting in front of Casemiro, and then the back four. I mean, they really have handled that area of the pitch with in terms of the balance of numbers. They've just not allowed any space at all for Newcastle. They've forced them wide every time. And just blocked that whole centre of the pitch really well.
Swept forward there by Byrne, but to no avail. McTominay, Rashford, Sabitzer demonstrating his freshness. Anthony.
I've been hugely impressed with him since coming on. I think he's just been brilliant, Wan-Bissaka. To come on at half-time with the role that he's had, I mean, the tackle he made early on, and then since then, he's just been exactly what Erik ten Hag wanted.
Fernandes has seen the run of Shaw. Well, he set that move in progress. The captain's armbands today in solidarity with all of those who continue to suffer in the conflict in Ukraine a year on from its outbreak. Saint-Maximin. Saint-Maximin again, this time with Anthony for captain. Joelinton to Bruno Guimaraes. And they found a way round the back here, but De Gea pounces. Well, flag up for offside in any case against Kieran Trippier.
I mean, it did look marginally offside for me because he just had so much advantage on the run. Yeah, probably just slightly, but very tight. But even then, just that edge in front of goal hasn't been there to finish that chance off. I mean, De Gea does well to get down, but it's been the story of that for me this game so far for Newcastle.
Remember that glorious ball that Sean Longstaff put in the first half, where there were no takers in black and white.
They just haven't got him where it hurts, have they? You know, it's a cup final. You have to have those moments on the pitch where you're in the right place at the right time, and you know, that hasn't been the case for Newcastle. Certainly in the kind of centre forward area or attacking midfield players arriving.
Today when you don't want to have regrets. Newcastle may have a few. Unless they can produce something remarkable in the next 20 minutes. It's Sabitzer, some great determination, and Rashford! Oh, Karius able to react. Seemed to take another nick. This is Shaw. Oh, he was a little unselfish there. Albeit was on his weaker foot.
If he had that bit on his left foot, he would definitely had a crack. But here we see the counter-attacking, or the ability to play on the shoulder that Marcus Rashford has. It was a great pass from Sabitzer, wasn't it? Brilliant tackle initially to win the ball back. He's got one thing in his mind, one touch and bang, it's in behind. Big trouble, onto his right foot. Karius gets down. It's not the cleanest of hits from Marcus Rashford. Just allowed Karius to save.
Newcastle in trouble. Sabitzer went for glory. He just was a little apologetic towards Anthony there, who was alongside him, but he saw the whites of the post.
You can sense that maybe Newcastle getting a little bit tired, a little bit more ragged in that back four and midfield area. And the freshness of Manchester United with Sabitzer, McTominay coming on, any kind of loose passes, they're on it straight away.
Martinez putting his head where others might fear to tread. And here's Wilson. He's looking round for the support. Wasn't arriving at a rate of knots. Thought there might have been a touch of the breakneck about their bids to get into that penalty area and give him an option. Well, maybe they haven't got it in them now.
No, well, every time it's happened, there's more Manchester United shirts reacting than Newcastle, isn't there? Because the ball turns over, the players are in the same positions in terms of how hard it is to work back, but it's just this lack of almost taking a gamble and just freeing yourself up to go, right, I'm going to go and get in the box, and just been lacking that from Newcastle United.
It's McTominay, the long leg of Burn, able to win that cleanly.
It's a telescopic long leg, isn't it? He can reach far distances with that sliding tackle. He's done it many a time, Dan Burn.
Go gadget legs. Here's Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, Rashford. Need to take the long way round. Anthony can get it under his belt. That's a foul. Wan-Bissaka. So, Newcastle changes. Jacob Murphy, Wembley born, and Joe Willock about to come on. Bruno Fernandes. Sabitzer. Well, certainly an added dynamism since he's come on. Shaw. Bissaka made himself available. The team 2-0 up with their two fullbacks this high up the pitch. He does illustrate real genuine attacking impression Newcastle have been able to make, although De Gea's come a long way and he made the right decision.
Just for a second there I thought, oh, where's he going? It was a good ball from Dan Burn, I think it was, who got it out his feet and just saw Alan Saint-Maximin into space.
So Saint-Maximin is withdrawn. Had a terrific start to the game. Bruno Guimaraes, his race is run.
Yeah, I think he's going straight inside to put his ankle in an ice pack. Bruno Guimaraes, he did well to carry on after that nasty ankle roll.
Cher has moved forward. Willock, a match winner on his day, hoping to be something of a match saver here for Newcastle in what remains. And the noise you just heard, the boot of Burn created. Quite expensive those, you know. Anthony, Fernandes, and this is the danger for Newcastle. Just didn't quite run for Rashford. Trippier doing just enough to keep Newcastle just about in the game.
I think Bruno Fernandes could have done too much more, if I'm honest. He couldn't play any earlier because Rashford wasn't up with him. But they're certainly just going to play like that now. They're going to sit back, allow it to come on, then all of a sudden that ball in behind or down the side is the one that's on.
Murphy teasing Casemiro and forcing a corner. Oh, the young man still born in Wembley, Newcastle fan all his life. Opening a window of opportunity for Newcastle here. forcing this set piece. And if it's going to come for them, this is a very likely route. Although not with a delivery like that. Bruno Fernandes. Now then, it's a shout. It's not a big shout. Certainly David Coote feeling he got the challenge right. And Murphy is the back man. Barely a peep from VAR, checked and cleared. Isak. Martinez. Trippier. Casemiro with two Newcastle players in close attendance. One possession back, and Willock will drive on, but Wan-Bissaka will defend the situation.
Another little look at the tackle here. Fernandes with the initial block, and then the contact after. I think it's both players coming together for the ball. I don't think that's a penalty.
Dealt with by Casemiro. A couple of important headers in that penalty area today. This is Anthony. We're going to get Manchester United up the pitch. He's not going to be on the pitch much longer. He's given away a foul. Jadon Sancho is prepared to replace him, and that is happening now. Well, he has got over his various struggles, Jadon Sancho. Anthony has had quite the week. Crucial goal against Barcelona on Thursday. He celebrated his 23rd birthday on Friday, and on Sunday he is very close to claiming a major prize in the colours of Manchester United. So his race is run. Sancho's role a walk-on part, but maybe an important one. England's head coach keeping abreast of developments.
I mean, with the amount of games Manchester United have, it must be hard for Anthony to squeeze in his celebrations, no? He's not going to have a night off that's less than 24 hours before a game at the moment the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, they've got an FA Cup tie in midweek against West Ham, Liverpool in the Premier League next weekend.
And then are they Europe again straight away?
That's right. Real Betis follows hot on the heels of that.
It's an unbelievable schedule they have, isn't it?
Price of success.
I'm sure they're not complaining.
We might argue with their place in the Europa League, it isn't necessarily the price of success, it's the price of not getting it quite right.
Absolutely.
But they are in a good position to potentially win that competition, although other English clubs might have a say in that. Murphy having a bit of a slash at it.
But I don't think there's been enough of that. Face someone up, get your opportunity, hit your shot. They haven't asked enough questions of David De Gea in this game, Newcastle United, and I'm sure that they may look back and just feel a little bit disappointed about that.
And the Geordie nation hardly a picture of elation at this moment. Well, they've been here before against Manchester United in a cup final past 24 years ago, when a few days later that night in Barcelona unfolded. Manchester United's goalkeeper David De Gea has been booked for taking things a little too leisurely on this Sunday afternoon. They beat Newcastle in the FA Cup final. The following midweek they won the Champions League final in as dramatic circumstances you will see. There is a potential treble on for United this season. Byrne forces a corner, but I suppose mentioning, as a cliche it's become, that night in Barcelona, well, 2 goals can come in very quick time. I can imagine his face will be pretty thunderous if they do. De Gea beats it away.
Good decision under pressure. It's a solid fist on that, David De Gea.
Almiron back in there. Cher is up there. Joe Linton trying to direct it goalwards. That's heading that way. And Fernandes has managed to find Rashford. Found him absolutely perfect. Oh! A lapse by Botman, and they could be punished for it. It's Rashford. Plenty of red shirts around. Sancho is one of them. Wan-Bissaka is one of them.
Oh, such a poor pass from Jadon Sancho to Marcus Rashford. He just overhit it with his left foot. If he puts the right weight on that pass, Rashford's in on goal. And there's another one of them from this guy who really has taken his job seriously in this second half. He's come on and been a tackling machine.
Well, we were debating before the game whether Dallow's selection tonight suggested he was the number 1 right back. I think Wan-Bissaka's second half performance would suggest not.
No, he's not done himself any harm, has he? I think he might be number 1 in my team, actually. I like a fullback to put a tackle in and defend like he does. I like the way he plays.
Casemiro going into the book here.
Yeah, that's late. Just catches Joe Linton.
One bit of quality plus a bit of bravery in attacking it. It's still flying about. They're almost inviting Murphy to shoot. And David De Gea was just hoping and praying there.
Wow. David De Gea on his knees watching this. I mean, Jacob Murphy thinks, okay, I'm at the back, I'll just step forward and hit this one. Look at the swerve. Roberto Carlos-esque from Jacob Murphy. That is very, very close. And I tell you what, if that nestles in that end with this crowd behind it, the last few minutes could be very uncomfortable for Manchester United if one goes in.
It's certainly not a like-for-like change. Some reinforcement at the back. Marcus Rashford questions about his fitness in the build-up to the game, replaced by Harry Maguire. But it is Rashford who has helped United land the decisive blow, albeit it will go down as an own goal by Sven Botman.
Is this a 3 at the back for Manchester United? Looks to be, with Wan-Bissaka and Shaw as wing-backs.
Songs of victory beginning to fill the air. Picked off by Almiron. The clock ticks in to the 90th minute at Wembley. Joe Linton now for Newcastle. Almiron. Challenge from Shaw. Sancho on the charge. Botman imposing himself fairly and squarely. Burn. Elliot Anderson and Matt Ritchie getting ready to come on for Newcastle as they continue to press. Oh, it threatened to cannon kindly for Callum Wilson. In the end, he comes to grief. A few unhappy with him for maybe searching for something that wasn't due him. So, 5 added minutes, plenty of time remaining. Words of a non-pacifist nature exchanged there.
I think it's pretty clear what Martinez is saying. He's not happy. Callum Wilson going for this ball and just kind of wrapped his foot around him and tried to fall on top of him. And I think he had a right to try and keep it in at this stage in the game if you're going to usher the ball out.
So changes for Newcastle, the experience of Matt Ritchie. And Wilson, fellow former Bournemouth player, withdrawn, as is Almiron. Their part in the drama is done. Is there going to be a dramatic twist? Burn. Murphy, Maguire halting him momentarily. Foul given.
And straight away, Kieran Trippier is sprinting over to this ball. He wants it. He wants to put an in-swinger into the box with that right foot.
Shaw has received a yellow card.
It's Ritchie taking over, isn't it?
Lovely left foot. Oh, and directed by Joe Linton. And a moment of genuine concern for David De Gea.
He just had to claw this away. Loops up in the air. It's an awkward one. Just slaps it away almost. Just get it out of here.
And the Newcastle flags are flying. They're showing their pride in their team and their sense of unity. And the team look as though they're going to go down today, but they are going down fighting. Incredible scenes. More trouble here. It was Botman in difficulty. Fernandes with Sancho alongside him. Fernandes keeps his head, but Karius denies him. And gets the congratulations from his colleagues.
Well, just tiredness here is to blame for Botman. He can barely lift his legs. And Fernandes is in. He could have crossed the ball early to Sanchez, but cuts inside, and credit to Karius. It's not easy stepping into a game of this magnitude, and he makes himself big there. It's a good save.
Distinguished himself there, the goalkeeper. McTominay. Tumultuous noise as we close in on the climax. Manchester United supporters in party mood, a victory party. Newcastle fans are going to party come what may, having taken over Trafalgar Square last night and the area around Wembley Stadium today. Really blasting that. That's not to be taken kindly to. Oh, Cher really upset by it. That is very uncharacteristic, but it shows how frustrated Newcastle must be with themselves as much as anything. Referee David Coote will have to get his card out again here.
It's been quite a hard-fought affair, it has to be said. I think there's been plenty of good, fair, competitive tackles. A little bit of aggravation. Martinez, quite regularly at the heart of it, actually, is that type of player, isn't he? Very combative and